But there was nothing wrong with his hearing. Who sinned? This man or his parents, that he was born blind? How many times had he heard that, or some version of that in his lifetime? People could understand accidental blindness. After all, it was a dangerous world. But a man born blind? There had to be some kind of sin behind this. Something like that is a punishment from God. It has to be. It has to be. And so they whispered about him and whispered about his parents. Today we might say that they talked behind his back. But really, with a man born blind, they could have stood right in front of him and said those things. And that's where Jesus was standing, right in front of him, when he declared that this man born blind was destined to reveal God's works to the world. Right in front of him. And then Jesus bent down and spat on the ground and made mud, which he then smeared on the man's eyes, telling him to wash in Siloam's pool. Jesus chose to muddy this man's eyes rather than his reputation. And when he returned from the pool, miraculously, he could see. In a beautiful twist of irony, this is the point of the story, when the blindness shifts from the man to everyone else around him. All of a sudden, his neighbors weren't sure if it was the same man. No, it's someone who looks just like him. The Pharisees in the story deepen their blindness to Jesus because Jesus healed this man on the Sabbath, because Jesus broke the rules. And if the rules were broken, he couldn't come from God. He must have been. That's right, the evil one. So these leaders threaten the man. They threaten his parents. They refuse to see any good in Jesus. And when the now seeing man defends Jesus, they cast him out of his religious community. They tell him, "You cannot come and be a part of us anymore." John says they drove him out. But now Jesus comes to him again. And now with his eyes wide open, he can see the face of his Savior. And having suffered for being granted the privilege of a miracle, having been cast out of his religious community, he sees Jesus for the first time. And he worships Jesus right there. And Jesus offers him a new place. Jesus offers him a new community. Jesus offers him a new way forward. Jesus offers him a brand new life. And those religious leaders, they are left to their self-willed blindness. Jesus says, if you were blind, you would have no sin. But now that you say, we see, your sin remains. This coronavirus has revealed our blindness in a way. We saw it coming in other places, but we went about our own business as though nothing were wrong. And now we, like the man in the story, have been driven out of our spiritual home and told, don't come back, or we don't know when we can come back. Perhaps this year, more than any other year, we may be able to sense the dislocation of a man born blind. And perhaps we can appreciate more than ever that Jesus meets us today in the dislocation of our lives. Our eyes, your eyes, are seeing things that you've never seen before. And we see them just about every day as the news is on the TV and the statistics change. This virus is changing the way that we see, the way that we relate to each other. There's modern day whisperers who are still willing to claim that God punishes sin with physical maladies. They say that this virus is a punishment by God for a whole variety of things. Same-sex marriage, pro-choice, anti-gun or gun control people, or maybe all three. But we must remind ourselves that the whisperers are wrong. We must remind ourselves that there is very little of Jesus in a punishing God that these people want to believe in. We stand for something different. We, the Church of Jesus Christ. We are the church who sees Jesus, who sees our salvation, who knows the goodness of Jesus. Our response to Jesus must ever be the response of the man in the story. Lord, I believe. See the eyes of Jesus. See what the world cannot see. See a loving God who would never punish with blindness an innocent man. See the loving God who plants divine goodness, who plants divine mercy within us, so that our lives might reveal this loving God to the world. We all were blind, but now we see. And what we see is the love and mercy of Jesus for us all. Amen.
If you happen to have a book with you, we're going to take a minute to sing hymn 779, Amazing Grace, How Sweet the Sound.